Sixth grade Excel, lesson 135. Here we go. Determining percents that are greater than 100% and less than 1%. Yes, you can have greater than 100%. You can have less than 1%. To convert any number to a percent, multiply it by 100 over 100. This will not change the value of the number because 100 over 100 is equal to 1. And when you multiply, that number is equal to itself. Since the percent sign means per 100, parts per 100, drop off the 100 in the denominator and add the percent symbol and you've got your answer. Well, that's making it really complicated, but let's take a look and see what they're saying here. That 0.345 times 100 over 100, that's going to be 100 times 0.345, which is 34.5, and that's over 100, so the answer is 34.5%. Hopefully what you can see happened here is to change the decimal 0.345 into a percent. I just moved the decimal point over 2 spots, put it right there, and the answer is 34.5%. So to change a decimal into a percent, simply move the decimal point over 2 spots to the right. And we can see the same thing will work right here. 1, 2. It goes right after the 7, right after the 7, changing the decimal into a percent. Now how about this one? When I move the decimal point 2 spots to the right on 4.2, it's going to go 1, 2, and that means I'm going to need a 0 in there to fill that empty spot. So I actually get 420%. There is no decimal at all in my percent. That's 4 times greater, more than 4 times greater than 100%. That's impossible to get if you're doing a test or something, of course, but you can do that in other situations. Here's another one. Decimal points here, move it over 2 spots. So the answer is 0.93%. That's less than 1% because 0.93 means 93 hundredths. This is 93 hundredths of 1%, less than 1%. Convert each of these numbers to a percent. So again, just move the decimal point over 2 spots to the right and add a percent sign. Go ahead and pause the video and do numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then turn it back on when you're ready for the solutions. Okay, in this first one, 1, 2, spots over, decimal point goes there, so you should write 0.38%. Number 6, the decimal point is here to start. Move it over, fill in some zeros, and so you get 300%. 3 is not equal to 3%. This is 3 wholes. 1 whole is 100%. Think about that. If you eat the whole pizza, you ate 100% of the pizza. You ate 1 whole pizza. This is like eating 3 wholes, which is 300%. All right, the next one, moving the decimal point over 2 spots to the right, we get 200.9%. Don't get faked out by these now. 1, 2 spots over, just always move it over. Fill in any zeros that might be missing, and this is going to be 3,890%. Yes, 3,890%. It says, can you see a shortcut when converting numbers to percents? Well, I've already taught you the shortcut, so let's just write it down here. Let's write down move the decimal 2 places to the right. Right? All right, fill that in. You might need to pause the video if you write slower than me, and then turn it back on. All right, so it says, for this next one, it says 0.345 times 134.5. The reverse of problem number 1 would be as follows, 34.5%. If I want to change it back into a decimal, I'm going to move the decimal point 2 spots over to the left, and then drop the decimal or the percent sign off to get 0.345. So this is just the opposite of what we did before. So 0.5%, move the decimal point over 2 spots and add some zeros in, and this is equal to 0.005. Not percent, it's 0.5% is a half of a percent. This is equal to 5 thousandths. All right, go ahead and pause the video and do 10 through 12. Number 10, move it over 2 spots to the left, and you get 0.148, 148 thousandths. Here the decimal point is hidden. It's not really showing. It's right there, so you're going to move it over 2 spots to the left and get 1.26. All right, hopefully you didn't miss that one. Same thing here. decimal point after the 400, move it over 2 spots to the left, and you get 4.00, which is equal to 4. Let's go ahead and write down the shortcut that we just did. We're going to move the decimal 2 spots to the left. There we go. All right, this next part we're going to be looking at some word problems having to do with percent. So it says the wholesale cost of a shirt is $5. A store is going to sell it for $12.50. What is the percent markup? Well, first of all, we have to figure out what the markup is. And the markup is how much they mark up the price, how much they raise the price. And since the price is, the shirt is going to be sold for $12.50, and they only paid $5 for it, that's what wholesale means. The store bought it for $5. Then we subtract to figure out that they're raising the price $7.50. And then we're going to make this into a fraction. They raised the price $7.50, and the original price that they paid for it was $5. So their markup is 1.5 because $7.50 divided by $5. If $5 goes into $7.50 one time, 0.5. And so what's the percent for that? Now move the decimal point over 2 spots, 1, 2, and the markup is 150%. This part right here might be a little confusing to some of you. Let me show you how they got the 1.5. You can even take off the decimal point because it's really like 750 pennies over 500 pennies as the fraction. Now we can divide both of them by 10, and then what we're getting is 75/50ths, right? And then how many times does 50 go into 75? It goes in 1 time and 1.5, or 1.5. And another way of doing this is you can actually do it as a big old division problem. You could do 75 divided by 50, and then put a 0.0 on there, put the decimal point up there. 50 goes into 75 one time. 50, subtract, get 25, bring down the 0. How many 50s are in 250? 5 of them, so you get 1.5. Then again, to change that into a percent, move the decimal point over 2 spots. We get 150%. Pretty tricky. You guys can do it though. Number 14, go ahead and pause the video and then do that one on your own to figure out the percent increase. Theo, hey, we got Theo on here. Used to earn $4 per hour. He now earns $15 per hour. What percent increase is this? Well, let's find out what the increase is that he went up. He started at 4, he went up to 15. That's quite an increase. So he went up 11, and he was originally 4. Now we got to change this into a decimal. And again, the easiest way to do that is to do this as a division problem. So I'm going to go ahead and erase a lot of this stuff up here, get it out of my way, and I'm going to, you could do it down here too. Actually, let me just do it down here because that's where I'd expect you guys to do it. You're going to do 11, or 11.00 divided by 4. Put the decimal point up there. 4 goes into 11 2 times. That's 8. Remainder 3. 4 goes into 30 how many times? That's 7. 7 times 4 is 28. That's remainder 2. And 4 goes into 25 times. So he went up 2.75, or move the decimal point over 2 spots. That's 275% increase. All right, we're almost there. We've got a couple more problems to show you. Alberta had this much money in her savings account. She spent 35% of it. How much did she spend? Oh, that shouldn't, 0.35%, not 35%. This shouldn't be too tough for you because you've been doing percent of a number for quite a while now. But you got to be careful. Don't do 2,480 times 0.35. We got to change this 0.35% by moving the decimal point over 2 spots to get 0.0035. And you can see they multiplied the money times 0.0035. We got to move that decimal point over quite a bit, and the answer is $8.68. We'll put a 2-pound box on a load that already weighed 4 tons. What percent increase in weight would that be? Well, 4 tons right here they figured out that 4 tons is 8,000 pounds. He added 2 pounds to 8,000 pounds. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the 2 on the inside of our division problem, because remember this top number is the dividend. Okay, that's the number on the inside. We're going to divide that by 8,000. Well, how can you divide 2 by 8,000? You just stick on a bunch of zeros here. So 8,000 goes into this big 2.00. 8,000 does not go into 20. It doesn't go into 200. It doesn't go into 2,000 even. It does go into 20,000. It goes in 2 times. And 8,000 times 2 is 16,000. 160,000. That's a mistake. That shouldn't be there. Is 16,000. And then we're going to bring down the 0 after we do 20 minus 16 is 4. All these zeros. We're going to bring the 0 down right there. And then we're going to put 8,000 into 40,000. That goes in 5 times. And then you get 0.00025. And remember, to change it into a decimal, we're going to move over 2 spots. So the answer is 0.025%. And again, don't let this fake you out and for you to think it's hard. It's just decimal point with some zeros. You just got to remember that you got some extra zeros. Now, the way I would have maybe done this one too is you could have well, that's probably just stick with this one here. I'm not going to complicate it for you. Okay, here are a couple of problems, 17 and 18. Go ahead and pause the video. Turn it back on when you're ready to see the solutions to these. 8 people out of 2,000 have a pool in their backyard. What percent is this? 8 people out of 2,000. So this is a division problem. We're going to put 8.0000, a bunch of zeros over there, and divide that by 2,000. Decimal point goes straight up. Okay, 2,000 does not go into 80, does not go into 800, but 2,000 does go into 8,000. It goes in 4 times. 4 times 2,000 is 8,000. So I didn't really even need these zeros. Then to change it to a percent, you move the decimal point over 2 spots. So the answer is 0.4%. Not 4%, but 0.4%. 0.07% of 300,000 homes in Pine City have horses. How many homes have horses? Well, remember, when you see a percent sign in a problem, it almost always means you're going to multiply. So we're going to do 300,000 times, not 0.07, because that's 0.07%. We're going to do it times 0.0007, because I got to move this over 2 spots to the left and put the decimal point out here. Okay, that doesn't really make the problem any harder. We're just going to put 0, a 0 for this, a 0 for that, a 0 for this, and a 0 for this. And then, oops, I don't want to put that in there yet. And then 3 times 7 is 21. And we're going to move the decimal point over 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Decimal point goes there. So we have 210 homes that have horses. You might want to watch this lesson again. Have a good day.